Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are continuing with our weekly series of Shirim on the Zohar HaKadosh, and we're going to be looking at Parshas Vayeitzei and opening up a very important topic that is not going to be covered completely now, but the hope is that it will provide at least the necessary clarification for entering into the gates of the sugya itself. The topic that we're going to be discussing is the discussion of Leah and Rachel. Leah and Rachel, the two wives of Yaakov Avinu, the two mothers who give shape to the shape of Klal Yisrael, to the emergence of significance within history. These two women, Leah and Rachel, these two expressions represent two spiritual counterpoints that the human being has to use in order to carry out their spiritual activity and orientation in this world. Leah and Rachel represent the two forms of the Nekeva, the two feminine forms and shape in which we perceive reality and experience reality. They represent the element of Bina and Malchus. They represent the beginning of limitation and the application of limitation. They represent the right side and the left side, two different forms. And these two different forms, these two different pathways, these two different perspectives, the world of concealment, that which remains hidden, which is the world of Leah, and the world of revelation, that which is revealed, which is the world of Rachel, these two topics have undergone so much conversation and so much treatment because of their hidden nature that very often a person comes to the wrong conclusion when it comes to this sugya of Leah and Rachel. Because when a person looks at Leah and Rachel as these two counterparts of the self in terms of its expression and encounter with the world internally and externally for the sake of serving God, developing ourselves to be the best vehicles to serve God that we can and to bring about the most kavod shemayim, when we see these as two paths or two valid options, Leah and Rachel, so then we come to think of it as either or, as one or the other. And a person comes to identify Leah with a particular kind of library of synonyms and concepts, and a person comes to identify Rachel with an entire library of synonyms and concepts. And if a person is a Leah orientation, then they live with those concepts, and the other concepts of Rachel are not so applicable to them. And if a person lives in the realm of Rachel, then their concepts are their concepts, and the world of Leah is not applicable to them. And it becomes something that separates and splits and develops this notion that I'm one or the other, which tends to cause an issue because a person always needs both. A person is always both and. In the realm of Pnimius, in the realm of Kedusha, in the realm of Achdus, it's always both and at the very same time. It's never either or. The secret is Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim, that in terms of the fact that both options are true at the same time, but nevertheless one has to have some form of an impact or more of an influence. So the way that that takes place is a different conversation. But for the topic of entering into these concepts of Leah and Rachel and everything that they represent, it is fundamentally important to realize that there is no fixed point. There is no point at which a person can say, I have grasped the concept, I am a Leah, I am a Rachel, I'm associated with this or I'm associated with that, as if it's some archetypal personality type, which is ultimately just a jail cell to the freedom of the neshama, as if I'm this and not the other thing, or the other thing and not this, which is the opposite of what Yaakov Avinu did. Yaakov Avinu needed Leah and Rachel. Yaakov Avinu needed both perspectives. Yaakov Avinu needed to fundamentally connect with both frameworks of Leah and Rachel, of Bina and Malchus, of these two polarizing forms of expression and reality, because both of them together reveal the beautiful, delicate balance and harmony that takes shape when a person truly develops the proper balance between these two opposites, of being Leah and Rachel at the same time, of owning both parts of ourselves, and then coming to try and understand what is my orientation point from this moment here right now. Is this a Leah Rachel? Is this a Leah moment? Is this a Rachel moment? And I always have both. How I utilize the application of the strengths is going to differ in accordance with circumstances, but it's never I'm Leah or I'm Rachel or I'm this type of soul or I'm that type of soul or I'm Mashiach ben Yosef or Mashiach ben David, because the ultimate is that it's always both at the same time. And to affirm some fixed point of identification is to limit and to enclose a free system within a sedimented desire to identify the self in some idolatrous impulse. The self is always a fluid expression of the infinite realms of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who is breathing life into the very depths of ourself at each and every moment. And the process in which that takes shape is the paradox of self and trying to understand the various shades and colors of self. And so first and foremost, we have to make room for the changing nature of it all. because some moments I'm going to be a Leah, some moments I'm going to be a Rachel, some moments I'm going to be a Rachel within Leah, some moments I'm going to be a Leah within Rachel. Sometimes Leah means this, sometimes Rachel means that. On Shabbos it switches. Every moment is a different orientation. Every moment a person has to realize that there's always a separate vantage point that one can come at and look at it in a polar opposite type of way. But that's not to deny the significance of the system, but rather to reveal the inherent unity of the system to the degree that everything is contained within everything, and everybody is a Leah and a Rachel, and there's no notion of a Rachel that's devoid of a Leah or a Leah that's devoid of a Rachel. And when we want to be a Yaakov Avinu, when we want to properly balance and harmonize our lives from the head down to the toes, from the Shemayim to the Aretz, and to become the Sulam and the ladder that connects the lower realms of revelation and the upper realms of concealment, we have to understand that it's never one or the other. We have to go in with humility. There is no self-diagnosis. I'm not diagnosing myself as a Leah or a Rachel, because that's either going to become permissive because, oh, I'm not a Rachel, I can't do this type of behavior, and I might as well be stuck in my kind of perception of conditioning, or it will lead to some sedimented sense of self of that I have to be this way, I have to be this way, I have to be this way. So it first has to be approached with the inherent humility that is associated with anything, which is that I don't know anything. Lo yodea klum. We don't know anything. There's no determination that rests in the hands of the human being to determine the nature of things. It's only by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the koyach of das, which is the koyach of bechira, but the prerequisite to coming to terms with that is first and foremost recognizing that lo yodea klum, I don't know anything, lo yodea klum, lo yodea klum, lo yodea klum, I don't know anything, I don't know anything, I don't know anything. And when a person says that enough and a person contemplates that enough, so lo yodea klum becomes the Rosh Tevos of chaf lamed yud, which is kli. A person becomes a receptacle and a vessel and a merkava that can now receive the influx of meaning, because the vessel of emuna, not knowledge, but rather emuna, is where I'm drawing all of that into. So I know that even if I feel like a Leah orientation right now, it doesn't mean I know anything. It's just how I'm choosing to perceive the reality of this moment. But I'm not determining my personality type. I'm not determining my archetypal model. That's not a thing in Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit is not about archetypes. Every person contains everything. It's about the particular valence through which we reveal ourselves in the secret of tzimtzum for the sake of revelation, but not that I'm sedimented as this or that, heaven forbid. So that has to be the approach to any sugya of Leah and Rachel, is the recognition that whatever I'm learning right now can also be seen in a completely different lens from a different vantage point. And in that place, I might be the opposite. I might be a Rachel, I might be a Leah. I have to understand where Leah is operating, where Rachel is operating, what's bigger, what's smaller, and the paradoxes that reveal the inherent unity between both sides of it, and the secret that Rachel Hagadola contains Leah within her. We have to be aware that there's so many particular points of orientation and the Erche Hakinuyim and the relative orientation, that whatever I'm choosing to look at right now doesn't mean that's the only option. I have to approach it with humility and realize that this is how I'm choosing to see myself right now. But the moment that the moment calls for me to shift in my orientation, I also have to be able to shift in my orientation. That's the secret of Yaakov and Yisrael, that we can be called Yaakov and we can be called Yisrael, because we orient ourselves towards that which is concealed and that which is revealed at the very same time. Now, with that basic introduction inherent to the sugya of Leah and Rachel, so now we can come to a certain place of trying to set up basic definitions and terms. So Leah and Rachel, the two counterpoints to Yaakov Avinu, from which Knesset Yisrael takes shape, from which meaningfulness and significance and the purpose of reality take shape, they represent the two ways in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu reveals his light into this world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light was infinite, so to speak. And that is not HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. That's simply the infinite light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu prior to the existence of the world. And in order to create the world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God, decided to be Mitzamsim himself, to contract the infinite light so as to allow the minimization of the infinite light to take a shape of something that is graspable. And the way that that happens is when the immediacy of the infinite becomes mediated through the limiting capacity and the levushim and the lower realms of concealment, that feminine principle of concealment, which ultimately is for the sake of revelation. It's an enclothing that allows something to be revealed. In the language of the Mekubalim, it's ha'elem hu hagiloi. It's the concealment concealment that is the revelation, because revelation is ultimately concealment when we're dealing with something potent. And therefore, the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's infinitude needs to undergo a process and a shift in which it is contracted and it becomes something that is possible to be received. The thing that manages and minimizes and is mitzamsem, that infinite light, and it contracts it, are the feminine qualities of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's expression, so to speak, which is the place of Gevura and Tzimtzum. Now, in the Shem Havaya, in the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the essential name which represents this process, so we have the four letters, the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey. The Yud represents Chachma. It represents the original expression, at least from a particular perspective. There's many ways. There's always many ways to look at it. And in Chabad, as the Rebbe has been speaking about always, that the Yud can be seen from a different perspective as well, but from the perspective of the Leshem and from the perspective of the general framework. So the Yud represents Chachma, which is the expression of the infinite light. The Hey represents Bina, the first feminine part, which is the first concealment, the tzimtzum to that infinite light. And then there's going to be the vav, which is the second expression of that masculine impulse to express again, in spite of the fact that there's a limitation set. And then the lower hay is going to represent the second feminine counterpoint, which is going to be malchus, which is where the thing is going to take place and it's going to take shape. So there's the first point of expression, and then there's the first state of concealment and regression. Then there's the second stage of expression, which is the attempt to re-express something in a more measured way. And then there's going to be the second encounter with the repressive kind of concealing element. This is referred to as the first expansion and the first regression, and the second expansion and the second regression, which is the or and the tzimtzum and the or and the tzimtzum. These two haze. These two feminine counterparts, which serve as the mechanisms of tzimtzum that conceal the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu so that it can be revealed, are referred to as Bina and Malchus. Bina and Malchus represent the two feminine counterparts, the kli that conceals the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu so that it should be revealed. Bina, as we've spoken about so often, is a very, very difficult territory to lay claim to because it represents paradox itself. It's the Shnei Hafachim Benosa Echad, because Bina, on the one hand, is part of the upper realms of refinement that are not subject to disorientation or disintegration or separation, but nevertheless, it also serves as the beginningness of separation, and the secret of din and gevura and severity begin to emerge from within Bina itself. That's dinin misarin minay. That severity emerges from within that place. So Bina represents the first state of concealment, which is also revealing something. It's part of the upper realm and it's part of the lower realm. And then the second stage is going to be Malchus. The second hay is Malchus, where something actually takes shape, where something is actually revealed. And revelation demands tzimtzum, it demands midos, it demands shiurim, it demands that there's going to be a particularization and a differentiation that makes this thing, and not some other thing. And so we have these two stages of the tzimtzum of Bina and Malchus, the first hay and the second hay. Now, ultimately, the first hay is the root source of the second hay. You don't find Malchus that doesn't first and foremost emerge from within Bina itself, because the unity between the mother and the daughter is that the final application of dinim, which expresses itself in the lower hay, are going to be rooted in the initiation and the emergence of the dinim in that primary stage of Bina prior to the actualization of those dinim. So really, these two hays, Bina and Malchus, represent two stages of the same expression. They don't necessarily represent two separate things. They're not two separate things, because in truth, they're a singular thing, as Leshem Shabo Vachaloma points out, that Bina and Malchus, Leah and Rachel, are ultimately fundamentally unified in the singularity of Rachel Hagadola, of that expansive state of Rachel, which contains Leah within it, which is the way things would have been had it not been for the original descent of the worlds through the action of Adam and Chava, which created the entire process of the need to work through these two stages. But in their source, they're singular. And so Bina and Malchus, Leah and Rachel, they represent two expressions of the same thing, which is why what we said prior to this is possible, that it's always both at the same time, because ultimately it's the same exact thing with two frameworks of looking at it, rather than two separate things with only one framework of looking at it, God forbid. And so Leah represents Bina. Leah represents Alma de Iskasia, that which is concealed, that which has yet to express itself fundamentally in reality. The Gvura is there, the severity is there, something is in the process of taking shape, but it has yet to emerge in an actual shape, which only takes place by Malchus itself, which is the notion of a place. Leah represents that which remains concealed. It represents the Bina, which is the severity of the mind prior to expression. It's the language of thought. It's the process of engraving the mind in the sight of imagination that will give shape to a particular perspective within my thinking, within the speech thought of myself, which in the thinking and the speaking that takes place within my mind. Between myself and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, between myself and myself, it's that place of Leah, the severity of the mind, the concealment of the mind, where the mind is still in a state of contemplation. And then there's Rachel, which is going to be the next stage of actualization, which is action, which is actual dibur, which is the actual emergence of a particular expression. Now, Leah represents Alma de Iskasia. It's still concealed. It's not yet present in reality. It's the emergence of reality. It's the emergence of potential so that being can actually take shape. It's that process of the emergence of a severity and a strength within the self that pushes it to express itself, which is always rooted in a certain sense of deficiency, which is the place of Eine Leah Rachos, that Leah is ultimately this vulnerable, humble heart, which is perpetually aware of the fact that it needs something more, and it's that inner churning and yearning, and the Yalala externally that sounds like a moaning and a groaning, which is ultimately transformed into the song of the Levium, which comes from Leah, which is Hapam Oida es Hashem, the secret of praise to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is ultimately rooted in imagination. That's the place of Alma de Iskasia. The place of Alma de Iskalia, the world of Rachel, the world of actualization, the world of particularization, the world of speech, the world of utterance, the world of actual engagement, is no longer a place of concealment. And it's an Alma de Iskalia. There's something revealed here. I can touch it, I can engage in it, I see the product of it. I've uttered something, I've done something, I've accomplished something. There's something that I can lay claim to. It's an Alma de Iskalia, it's something that's revealed, it's something that's graspable, it's something that's loved and attached, as opposed to the world of Leah, which is something that is attached, but it's by way of a distance. It's by way of a very different dynamic of connectivity. It's by way of a severity of connection, something that externally might even look like a form of a hatred, not a hatred in the sense that there's an anger, but rather a hatred in the sense that there's a certain disgust that emerges prior to the ability to connect. It's the tzike kedera, it's the pungent odor of Baruch Shem Kavod Malchus Olam Va'ed, which demands a certain severity of thought, which creates the certain relationship by way of a distant that one knows they truly want this thing deeply, but they're not yet ready to accept upon themselves the task that it would take to access that place. That's the world of Leah. That's the world of Leah, where a person has to daven and they have to fight for the utilization of imagination to be taken from the realm of Esav and to be utilized properly in the world of Yaakov. Lumdus and the emergence of Lumdus and Pilpul in its refined way through Brisk and Tells and all of the different schools of Lumdus is one of the expressions when imagination was taken and Leah was utilized and it was Nishapech into a place of refinement for Chedushay Torah. But generally speaking, that place was a very difficult place to try and encounter God in the Alma de Iskasia. In the Alma de Iskalia, in the world of action, in the world of practicality, in the world where I can pat myself on the back or be patted on the back to show what I have in hand, to show that I have something to show for myself. So that's something that a person connects themselves to. A person wants to feel that they're accomplishing something in this world. That's why Yaakov Avinu loved Rachel. Yaakov Avinu saw Malchus and he says, I want something revealed. I want something that is grasped. I don't want something that's stuck in the process of becoming something, the burgeoning process of revelation, which comes about by way of tzimtzum in the realm of Leah. Yaakov Avinu externally wanted Rachel, externally wanted that revealed place. But what Rachel understands, and the secret of Rachel is that no, the importance, the only value that's going to come to the realm of actualization and to the realm of that which is revealed is accepting upon ourselves the process of what we don't know. The inner process, the unconscious churning of the world of Leah, and Rachel understood that in order to truly benefit the light of Rachel, of actualization in this world, there has to be an appreciation for the infinite processes that are perpetually moving towards revelation that gives birth to revelation. Because if a person takes Rachel alone, then all we grasp is the externality of reality without any semblance of the depths upon depths, the Tahim el Tahim Choira that the imagination opens up, which teaches us that what we know is simply the most externalized form and the outer casing of the true expression of what we don't know, of Lo Yodea Klum. that realm of Leah, that realm of Alma Iskasya. And Rachel understands that I have to give the simanim to Leah in order that the yichud should take place between Leah and Yaakov, so that we should be able to develop an appreciation of the inner process and the unconscious process and the infinite depths, calling out to the depths, and the Yonah who sends down into the belly of the fish to reveal the light of the Leviathan, that place of Leah. We have to draw the unconscious, unknowing processing of it all, the attempts towards joy, the attempts towards actualization, and we have to unify the two of them, and then Yaakov is going to be Shalem. Then Yaakov is going to have that full shlemus of process and goal at the same time. And that's the yichud of Bina and Malchus. Malchus going back up to Bina, Bina coming down to Malchus. But like we said, all we're going to look at right now is we're going to try and open ourselves up to what the Zohar Kadosh says. What the Zohar Kadosh says about these two orientation points of Alma de Iskasya of Leah and Alma de Iskalia of Rachel, of Malchus and Bina, and how we should orient ourselves to it. Because in our orientation, that which can't be grasped is despised. We don't want to connect to that which can't be grasped. We want to naturally lay claim to that which is graspable, and therefore we have a difficult relationship with the realm of Leah, with the realm of that which is concealed, with the realm of process, with the realm of believing in our imagination and believing in our hishtadlus towards joy, and believing in the fact that any nituk and any attempt that we make to disconnect ourselves from the thickness of this worldly experience is ultimately the most beautiful thing in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's enough to validate the entirety of the existence of creation from the beginning of creation until the end of time. That chidush kamoni lahaya me'olam, that each and every one of us in the realm of Leah and the realm of imagination, when we go through the process of Eine Leah Rachos to refine our inner sense of self, we have to learn to appreciate the inner development of the narrative and then to illuminate the realm of Rachel, and not to, God forbid, take Rachel without Leah or Leah without Rachel. Vayar Hashem ki snua Leah. Sagt der Heilige Zohar HaKadosh on Daf Kuf Nun Daled, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Leah was hated, Leah was despised. Rabbi Eliezer Pasach, Rabbi Eliezer opens up, Rabbi Eliezer, the son of Rabbi Shimon, the descent away from the light of Chachma into the realm of Bina is what's going to reveal this teaching. Rabbi Eliezer, so we see that there's two phrases. There's the Akeres Habayis, there's the foundation of the home, the essential expression, and there's also going to be the mother of the children and the place of joy, and ultimately that's going to bring out the praising of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What is the essential home that a person attaches themselves to in this world? Da Rachel, the Ihi Ikra de Besa, Malchus, revelation, that which is present, that which is ready at hand, that which I can handle, that which I can work on, that which I can actually do and actualize. That's the realm of Rachel. That's the Akaras Habayis. That's the Ikra connection. Yaakov Avinu, the neshama, wants to reveal itself in this world. It wants to be mechaber to Malchus. But what's Aim Habanim Smecha? What is the mother of the children, which develops this deep sense of joy? The Leah. This is the secret of Leah, and we're going to see how this joy is a profound joy. It's a joy that knows the secret of joy even when it descends away from itself. It's the secret of the Ben Melech who understands that in order to be king, I have to ensure that I'm joyous even when I descend away from being king. And if I'm able to do that, then I'm truly worthy of being king, because the true simcha of the world of Leah is the Alma de Iskasi, where a person is perpetually connected, even when they don't feel connected, especially when they don't feel connected. It's that place of Kitsnua Leah. That Leah is snua, she's hated, but snua with a sin, smoilus, can also be understood as snua. There's a concealment there. There's a tzniusa there, because ultimately it's that place of bina that gives us a taste of keser in a way that even Malchus and Rachel don't have the capacity of giving us sometimes. And so we see that the simcha is going to come from Leah. So Akeres Habayis is Rachel, the revelation of Malchus. Ein Habanim Smecha is Leah, the realm of concealment, the realm of Bina. Davar Acher, Meishiva Akeres Habayis. Another way of reading this is Da Shmita Di Ihi Ikra, V'hai Alma Ilo Istaber. So the world of Rachel, the world of the Akeres Habayis is Shmita. It's the world of Malchus. It's the world of revelation. It's the world of practicality. It's the world of actual engagement with something in this world. Revelation, engagement in a real way. The Hay Alma Alea is Daber. That's what this world is. This world is the realm of Malchus, of Rachel. Ema Banim Smecha, and the mother of the children is joyous, Dav Yovla. This is the secret of Yovel. This is the 50th gate. That's Bina. That's the secret of the lave. The Chol Chedu v'Chol Chedva de Kula Almin Beitalian, where all of the joy and the joy of worlds upon worlds are dependent on that place, in the place of Yovel, on that hidden place of freedom within the mind. That's the realm of Leah. V'hai Kra Klala de Kulahu. And this pasuk Mashiva Keres Habayis, Ema Banim Smecha, Halaluka, is Klala Dekula, because ultimately the entire process is about how Malchus emerges from Bina and how Malchus goes back up to Bina. And once it goes back up to Bina, it can then go back up to Chachma to reveal Keser. So once the Pasuk is talking about the relationship between Alma Ilah and Alma Tata, Bina and Malchus, Leah and Rachel, Yerushalayim Shamala and Yerushalayim Shlamata, Beisa Ilah, Beisa Tata, as we're seeing in Rabbi Nachman's 49th teaching. So then we're going to have the secret of Klala de Kula. Everything is here. Begin the high Kalil Kula Beraza Kadisha, because over here everything is contained within a singular secret. The Alda Siyuma Dekra Halaluka. And this is the secret of the end of the pasuk that comes to praise Halaluka. Hallelujah Yud K, because ultimately Leah and Rachel are Yud and K. Vayar Hashem Kisnu Leah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Leah was despised, Leah was hated. This realm of concealment. V'chi amai hisnua. Why was she hated? Someone who's despised doesn't ultimately provide the world with illuminating offspring. Because if there's anger, anger begets anger, hatred begets hatred, concealment begets concealment. And if we're saying that Leah's concealment has some negative connotation, then how could it be that the offspring that come from Leah are going to be illuminative? How are they going to be ma'alye? How are they going to be illuminating the world? Elama. It has to be that the snua, the hatred that Leah felt, and that intensity of self that is experienced in the inner interiority of the heart and the process of Leah is not negative, it's just expressed in the way of this intensity. But nevertheless, it's still going to be a revelation of something powerful. But if it was an actual hatred, then the children that emerged from this relationship would not be illuminative to the world. But we see the opposite, that all of the elevated souls came from Leah. They all came from Leah. And you're saying that Leah was despised? So how could it be? We have to reorient ourselves towards that hatred towards Leah. We have to reorient ourselves towards that concealment associated with Leah. So what is this hatred that Leah feels, this concealment that Leah feels? What does it stem from, if it's clearly not stemming from an actual negativity? But rather, the issue emerges from the fact that Yovel, the realm of Bina, the realm of actual freedom of the mind, and to be Mavin Davar Mitoch Davar through the imaginative principles of Medama Milsa Lamilsa, of comparing one thing to the other, that emerges from the realm of Yovel and Bina and Leah. Ihu Tadir Almad Iskasia. It's always concealed. The realm of Leah is always concealed. Vichol Miloy Lav Iskalia. And all of her words and all of her matters do not reveal themselves in a revealed way. They're not revealed in a revealed way. They're taking place in that hidden place. Ubegin kach Yaakov itkasyan mine kol uvde. And as a result of that, Yaakov Avinu's entire relationship with this realm of Bina was also in a way of concealment. It came about in a dreamlike state. It came about in the process of secondary ways of experience, of Milsa Agav Orcha Kamash Malan, as Torah Sheba'al Peh opens up, the secret of Kriya Shema Shel Aravis, which is ultimately teaching us the singular secret of the realm of Leah and the realm of Torah Sheba'al Peh and the realm of Gemara, and the secret of being mamtik imagination through lumdus to uncover the secret of liba of limud Gemara, liba de hilchasa. What this emerges from, this transformation that Leah provides, is the secret of the encounter by way of concealment, by way of circuitous routes. Because Leah represents this place of concealment, not a concealment of revelation, but the revelation of concealment. The expression of Leah is the imaginative principle that pulsates throughout the mind, that gives shape to the midos themselves, that gives shape to actual experience. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu's entire process with Leah, towards Leah, in relationship to Leah, came about by way of concealment. It's not a secondary issue of the relationship with Leah. It's fundamental to the relationship with Leah. The relationship with Leah could only come about by way of these secondary ways, because that world of Leah is concealed. The person cannot come directly into concealment. The process has to be slowly but surely becoming concealed to oneself and allowing oneself to be in a state of concealment, and transforming that concealment into a place of the hiskabris, of the machshava, and the willingness to make a choice to transform the yalala and the concealment and the moaning and the groaning into a place of shiras halavim, into a place of the simcha itself. And that's the reality of Leah. And that's where that hatred comes from. That's where that concealment comes from. Tachazi, come and see. Al matata be'isgalia ihu. The lower world, in contradistinction to Leah, the world of Rachel, the world of beauty, the world of revelation, the world of that which is present, that operates in revelation. V'hu shirusa dekula lesalka bedargai kama chachma ilah hu shirusa dekula. And here the Zohar Kadosh is giving us a hint to the depths of Rachel. Because if we only accept Rachel without Leah, then Rachel is just Malchus. Then Rachel just appears to be Malchus without any depth of imagination. But once we include Leah within our consciousness and we allow ourselves to operate with the realm of the concealment and the imagination and to know the depths of something, in spite of the fact that it appears to be one thing, there's a depth to it. So then we can take that double take of Rachel and we can really look at Malchus again, because without Leah, then Malchus just appears to be Malchus. But with the lens of Leah, what Malchus becomes is the emes, the shoresh of where Chachma is revealing itself. Leah is Bina that's revealing herself down into Zer Anpin and giving us Moichin. But in truth, the relationship is between Chachma and Malchus. That Malchus, when we look deeply at Rachel, we come to find that it is the beginning, it is the gate upon which a person enters into the realm of connectivity. It's the point of revelation. But ultimately, it's loved. Why? Because it reveals the light of Chachma. It reveals the light of absolute bittul. And the only way to come about this is going through the process of Leah, going through the process of the imaginative principle that enables us to look into the innermost point of Malchus and not just see the externality of it, but rather to see the Chachma Ilah hu shirusa dekula. This place of Malchus is the opening. It's the revealed opening that everything ascends into and upwards from. And it's the place where Chachma Ilah, the higher point of Chachma, the Yud, is going to begin. Hachinami alma tata Chachma ihu. The lower realm, Malchus, is also referred to as Chachma. V'hu shirusa dekula, and it's the beginning point in which a person enters in. And that's why Yaakov Avinu obviously loved her in a revealed way, because that's the opening, and that's revealed. Ubegin kach karin and ata. And therefore the realm of Rachel, the realm of revelation, is referred to as ata, me and you. I and thou, me and you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A revealed way, Yaakov and Rachel, I know what I have. I have the receipts, I know what I have. V'raza demila de Leah. I'm sorry, we begin kach krin and ata. The level of Rachel is referred to as you, a face-to-face encounter, something that's graspable, imminent, pnimi. Begin the ihu shmita, because it's the level of malchus, it's the level of shmita, the iskalia, and it's revealed. Va'al me'ilad ihu yoivla karinanhu. But the realm of Leah, which is concealed, which is hated, which doesn't have a way of clear direction, because it's the recognition that I don't have clear direction. It's the milsa agav orcha kamash malan. It's the circuitous route of Torah Shebal Peh, which is the secret of the imagination of Leah that transforms the imagination of the klipa of Yilala and Lamed Yud Taf, and it transforms it into the secret of Lamdus, which is why that name Lamed Yud Taf, the concealment that comes from Leah, Rabbeinu tells us is the gematria of Talmud, because ultimately it's the rectification of imagination through the secret of Lamdus. And that place is Yovel, that place is the clarification of thought. And in that place, who the whole milud is kasiin, and all of the matters there are concealed. It's concealed in the place of Bina. V'raza de mila de Leah, and this is the secret of Leah, d'chsiv v'yishkav ima b'layla hu. And that place in the time of Leah, this secret of the relationship with Leah, it's the Laila Hu, it's the secret of the nighttime, which draws down that revelation of Hu. It means the secret of distance, the fact that I don't know, and the experience that comes along with that. The Adach Siv, and on this it comes to say, Ve'aved Halevi Hu. The Aved Halevi, the Levi, is the secret of Leah, is the secret of Bina, but it's Hu, it reveals the highest realm. This secret of Aved Halevi Hu is the secret of the Pnimius of Bina, which goes to the Pnimius of Atik, but ultimately it's only to reveal the secret of Pnimius Chachma, Pnimius Atik. But over here rests the deepest secret of Aved Halevi Hu in the Torah of the Avodas Halevi, Rav Aaron Halevi Meistra Celia, and the Avodah of Rabbi Nachman's teachings as well. The secret of Aved Halevi Hu that's being merumez to is the deepest of the deep. But it's the fact that the realm of Leah is distant, but it also has the ability to reveal that which is far beyond it. Begin la'amshacha minayu birchen l'kula hu alma ilad iskasya tadir. And in order to draw down blessing from the highest source, from Keser Elyon Alav Nikra, from the secret of Atik Yomin, it has to be drawn down through the perpetuality of the Alma de Iskasya. That realm of Leah, which is ever present, it feels like absolutely nothing. Perpetually. V'Yakov b'mad iskasya lo yistavik b'ru'usa. But Yaakov didn't want willfully to attach himself to that which was concealed, because the only way to come about to that which is concealed is to have to break through that level of loy lishma, which is that secret of Leah and the dinim of Leah, which is the secret of Torah lishma, to be mamtik the hargasha of loy lishma and to find the lishma within the loy lishma. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu couldn't have desired it fully, because that's not the way that a person can access the realm of Leah. It has to come about by way of a distance of loy istavik berusa. Loy istavik berusa. Elabamada Eskalia, the only thing that Yaakov truly wanted in a revealed way was that which was revealed, the realm of Rachel. And a person has to connect to that which is revealed in front of them. V'yar Hashem kisnu Leah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Leah, this realm of concealment, this realm of process, was despised. Mehachi desani barna sharayan de'ima. This is where the disorientation and the hatred comes about from one's relationship to the origin from whence they come, one's mother. The relationship with a person's mother, the source of the first nituk, the source of birth, the source of separation and connectivity, the place in which learning all of the Torah takes shape, and then severing that knowledge takes place, the place of forgetfulness and memory, the entering back into the threshold, that Pesach, that opening that we illuminate with the lights of Hanukkah candles, which is the secret of the Lamed Vav, Mesechtos and Shas, the Torah Shebal Peh, the illumination of imagination. This place, the womb of Bina, is a very difficult place for a person, because we know that the secret rests there, but we also know that it's concealed from us. And the relationship that one has to something that they know they need, but it's also concealed, until a person comes to own the concealment as the way of grasping what it is that they need, then there's always going to be this paradoxical kind of interest and disinterest at the same time in terms of the realm of Bina. The Yisyached Barna and therefore there's this element of separation, inherent separation between a son and a mother, or the concept of the mother, the concept of Bina and Zer Anpin, to the degree that everybody else has to separate themselves because there's a chash of connectivity, but by a son and a mother, there's no chash of connectivity, because there is this inherent separation that operates between the realm of concealment and revelation for the sake of upholding both sides. Aru ben misyachedim imo v'kula iskasya meyakov the alma ilah loy iskalia klal. Everything was concealed from Yaakov on the level of the alma ilah, on the level of Bina. Ta'chazi. That goes into a separate piece. Tachazi, the ikar is to come and see. But there's a lot more to be said about Leah and Rachel, obviously, but that's what we're going to look at for now. And the nakuda is to draw down imagination into actuality, so that we can illuminate actuality with the depths of imagination and the secret of the yichud of Leah and Rachel, of that which is concealed and that which is revealed, and to come to a place of developing an understanding of the parts of ourselves that reveal the fundamental whole, and not making a fundamental whole out of the parts of ourselves. Be'ezras Hashem.